Alright, so picked out some brackets for the back. Just these two little pieces here, I think you can see them. So now we're going to set up our boards on here the way we want it. Alright, so let's see how much we got. That's good. That one's good. Alright, so now you know, really the way you put this whole thing together, it's up to you. I mean, like I said, it's not a blueprint, just kind of whatever. But I try to line them up a little bit, and then I just use a little brad nailer here to put them all together. But, you know, like one of the things I was saying is if you want to stagger the end of this to make it look, you know, tattered or worn or whatever, you know, that's one good way to change it up a little bit. Or you can keep them even, you know, you can do whatever you want. So alright, so we got that one on. Check on this side. Alright, so we'll put a few in here. Alright, let's see how we did. Alright, looks like I hit them all. So on the back of here now, this is all we got. Just a board like this. We got some of the nails popping out. We're going to just pound them down. But this thing serves to hold the whole thing together. And you know, then at the end of it, if you want to, you can put a, you know, hanging hook on it or whatever. And then it looks like this on the front. So this is what it looks like when we start. Now, so what we're going to do next is stain it. And actually, I didn't even check to see if my stain was good or not. But I guess we're going to Alright, so this is just plain old wood stain. It's been in there so long that the actual name of this color is blacked out, so I can't see it. But anyway, so here's what we do first. Now, this stain's been in there for a long time, so it's probably awful thick. The reason that I do this is because when we get further into it, we're going to use something called crackle paint, which, if you never heard of crackle paint, it's a paint that when you put it on, as it dries, it splits and cracks and just makes something look old. But anyway, if I didn't do this, when the crackle paint crackled, you'd be able to see the color of the wood. So if you make it dark, in my opinion, again, you know, this isn't my way or the highway kind of thing. If you like it lighter underneath, then, you know, leave it the color of the wood or paint it white. Might be a good idea. Alright, so now we got all this wood stained. Next step is to wipe it all off. So what I'd recommend, I didn't put any on, but I guess I probably should. If you don't have any of these nitrile gloves, I'd recommend getting some. Harbor Freight sells them pretty wicked cheap. But they're pretty heavy. They come in like 3, 5, and 7 mil, something like that. But that'll keep you from getting paint and stain and whatever else all over your hand. Alright, anyway, so got our stain on there, so we're going to wipe it all off. If you were to leave this on here, it would take like a week to dry. But if you wipe it off after you put it on, it already stained enough of the wood that it's going to hold the appearance. I don't know if you can see that yet or not. Like I said, when I'm done here, I'll hold this up, but it really, really changes the look of the wood. You can see the video advancing down on the bottom. And take it back. You can see the difference that just that stain made. So if you imagine this as a coffee table, sitting, if you lacquer over top of it, fill in some of the holes and stuff, but works pretty good. But anyway, for our flag purposes, you know, we're going to paint our square up here for the blue, and then when you make the stripes on it and use that crackle paint where it crackles, like on the white spots especially, you'll be able to see this dark wood underneath of it instead of the bright natural color of the wood. So anyway, now we got that done. I'm gonna let it sit and dry for a little while, but I'll prep all my other stuff. We're gonna get our blue paint, and I'm just using Nicole's Craft Studio 74508 dark blue. And I got this at AC Moore, I believe. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm going to go up and get some water and all that stuff that I need for the brushes. And then when I come back out, we'll start painting. Giggity. Anyway, what we're going to do now is paint us a blue square. Now, like I said, there's only one real part that I do any measuring in this, and it's not now. So, typically what I do here with the blue paint is I just come down to right here and then kind of come over just about halfway, I guess, maybe a little less than that. But what we're going to do here is paint this whole thing blue. Now, like I said, in a while, to have these cool marks, I guess hopefully you can see that at the angle you're at, but to have these marks in the wood shows through when you get done with the flag, and it, you know, makes it look, like I said, kind of old or tattered or whatever the word is you want to use. This paint usually cleans up fairly simply with, you know, like a wet rag or spit or whatever. Let's see how far we're going to go, probably just about there. Good. Alright, so we'll bring our flag corner or our star corner over here. Alright. Now the good news is that if you go over or out of the lines or whatever, you can always go over it. Like right there, I went over it a little bit, but we're going to be putting red and white paint on that anyway, so shouldn't be too big of a deal. I'll try to make sure this is a little thicker on top of here. I do want some of it to come through because again, then you'll be able to see the dark color underneath the blue, which usually ends up being pretty awesome sauce. But I'm going to show you a trick that I use towards the end here. It might not really be a trick, it's just something I do. And I also edge these when I make them, so whatever the color is on top, I make it on the edge as well. Over here it'll go, you know, white, red, white, red. Doc, what are you doing? You want to go in? You want to go in? Doc, you want to go in? You want to go in the house? Hold on. Hold on, dog bird. This is our dog. Her given name is Elisa, but dog just ended up being easier, so that's who she is, dog. Very smart puppy. I'd recommend him. Labradoodle she is. Very intelligent dog. Pretty sure she keeps a journal of everything I say. Which probably is going to end up being bad for me at some point or another. Alright, so we got our blue painted. We're going to let that dry for a while, and in the meantime we're going to paint our crackle paint on the rest of here. I might I'll leave it. Anyway, we're going to paint our crackle paint over top of here, and typically when you do that, you got to let it depends. Yeah, I wish I could tell you exactly how to do it, but you got to mess with it. But when you put the crackle paint on, it has to sit for a certain amount of time, and the length of time you let it dry before you paint on top of it determines how crackly whatever you paint on top of it gets. So give me a second here. Get the crackle paint and show you how that works. Alright, so I discovered I didn't have enough crackle paint. I must have used it all last time and forgot. But anyway, so this stuff's just clear, you know, kind of clear. It's more like cloudy. But it doesn't require a whole lot. And again, the more of the paint you use in one spot, the more of a crackly effect you get. Alright, coming back at you again. So, now what we gotta do is gotta put our stripes, and this is about the only part that I measure, and honestly I don't even measure it like real well. So we're about 22 inches deep. Right there. We need 13 stripes on. Alright, so after doing some major calculations, discovered that we need about 1.7 inches for each stripe. Alright, so 0.7 inches for each stripe. And you know that the last stripe on the bottom of the, where the blue is here, this stripe has to be red. So if we go, we're just going to say 1 3/4, it's going to be what we refer to as good enough. There goes the guy. Alright, and this one we're just going to make come down there, so what we'll do is just spread these out a little bit. But now that I got a general idea, I know how wide to paint the lines. And I'm going to start with my red and do the red lines first. And then swap over to the white lines. Well, he's definitely a little thicker. Alright, so on this one I'm going to use, this is Nicole's Craft Studio 74498 red. So that's what we're using. They make a lot of them. I prefer the slightly darker colors. So there's my marker right there. This guy we're going to make that to here. So if you take notice to what this looks like when I'm putting it on, the red you can tell a little bit, but you can really tell with the white when it starts to crackle. So we'll put this on here. Now, like I said, kind of try and remember what it looks like here. I guess you could always just go back on the video as well. But and then once it starts to dry and crackle, you should be able to tell a difference pretty clearly where the crackle paint began to do its thing. Alright, we're going to do that one. We want to do this one. Let's see. Gloves back on. This I'm not too worried about because I'm going to paint over it anyway, but just get some of the chunkiness out of there. All right, now hopefully you heard me say at the beginning it doesn't have to be pretty. So anyway, that's the very beginning of it. All right, so there goes our stripes for the red. All right, so for my white, I'm using Nicole's Craft Studio Multi-Surface 74516 Light Ivory. And for this guy, yep, we got it. Now don't touch this thing, got it?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just looking at it.
Alright, so for this dude, we gotta try and paint between lines as best we can. This one here we're gonna have to modify a little bit.
That's a cool flag, Dad.
Huh?
That's a cool
I
flag.
hope it's cool when you're done.
I bet you'll be done in a little while, but that's gonna take all night.
I don't know about all night. It'll take a little while.
Not all night.
Probably not all night. So there, if you're watching this part, you can actually see the red crackling a little bit on top there.
Dad.
Yes, babe.
Red and white make pink.
That's right. And you know, I go over the lines here sometimes, and you can see where I get some red in my white or some white in my red, and you know, depending on where it is and how it looks, I either leave it there or, you know, move the paint over it or whatever. But again, I kind of like the fact that it doesn't look like it's professionally made. You know, it looks like an amateur did it in his garage. Alright, so, not sure which way this thing was actually on, but so now you can see it here up a little closer. There we go. See how that paint crackles like that? Now you got some cracking in there. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. See how it crackles up? Anyway, so you can see it from the end. Looks like that. But we're going to let this dry for a little while and then correct any major errors we got. Then we'll do the next step, which I'll show you in a little while. I think you'll like it. Alright. Back at it. My rig fell apart for my hanging camera, so I'm back to using the rig over. Alright, so anyway, I took the liberty of putting crackle paint on here, and I drew him a circle out around the edge here that I want my stars to be on. So now what we got to do is paint the stars. So I got this little brush. I hope you can see that from there. It's just a stick with a sponge on the end of it, pretty much. And that's what I'm going to use to paint these big old stars on here. Hopefully without spilling too much of this paint. And again, with this one, I just kind of, wherever it looks good. So laying down on top of there, pick it up. What we're going to do now is let this thing dry overnight. And then the next step is we're going to take that stain again and stain over the whole thing once it's dry. And that'll give it a real dark, used, you know, tattered, worn look to it. And then when you wipe it off the next time, some of that stain will sit down in some of these crackle places. And then we'll lacquer it. And then the lacquer kind of makes it shine up a little bit, or a little more presentable, I guess. But believe me, when it's done, it'll look cool. All right, so I think when we left off, I fixed the stars a little bit because They look better now, but last time they were kind of egg shaped. But anyway, before I put it up here, yes, there.
Can you unscreen that?
I will in a minute. Yeah, hold on. So here you can see up close how it crackles. Crackles different ways in different places. Up here's a good spot. Where now we go? Right there. That one did real good. Now again, it all has everything to do with, you know, the type of wood and the green in the wood and all that stuff. So anyway, now we're gonna set it back up here and we're gonna go to the next step. After I get it all on there and it gets to dry, I'm gonna stain over top the whole thing again. I'm hoping you can see the difference in this as I start wiping it off on the end here. But you know, this stain primarily just soaks into the wood, but I believe it does stain the paint that's on here at least a little bit. So let me see if I can get some of this to work anyway, just so you can see how cool this actually happened. So hopefully you can slide back and see what it used to look like. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate and do both of these things at the same time. Now, I reckon you could probably leave as much of this stain on there as you wanted. You know, and the more you leave on there, of course, the more worn it's going to look. Sorry, keep losing focus on what I'm doing. Look at that. I mean, come on. So we turned it into that pallet board, and now it looks like that. And it'll even be cooler once we get the lacquer on it and it's a little shiny. But I mean, come on now. That's a good looking flag right there. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna turn this thing off so I can clean up the sides and stuff, and then I'll come back and we'll put the lacquer on it, and that'll be that. And woohoo! All right, YouTube. Here we are in the last stage of the game. I put one coat of urethane on this thing last night just to get it started. So now we're going to put the last coat on here, and I'll give you another close-up tour of how we're looking, and hopefully you think this thing looks as cool as I think it looks. But naturally, if anybody has any questions, you can always comment or get a hold of me. My phone number is 717-579-3859. I'm not 100% sure if that's legit to put it in there. I guess if it's not, somebody will take it out or tell me. But so hopefully you can see it here now with the lighting. But as you can see, it's got a different look now than it did when we started. But that's pretty much how it'll look now when it dries. You know, it'll look a little cleaner than that, but so you can get an idea. They look great hanging on a wall. They end up being pretty heavy after all the schmutz you put on it. But like I said, I've had really good responses from I don't know, I've probably made 3 or 4 dozen of these now. Mostly I donate them to charities and whatnot for silent auctions or whatever. So if you're a charity and you'd like to have a flag made, get in touch with me and I'll do my best. I make this version, and I also make a version that's about 2 feet by 4 feet. This one's probably 1.5 by almost 3 or something like that. So there you go. That's a pallet like we started with right there, and we turned it into this. So anyway, that's all we got for now. Like I said, you have any questions, comments, whatever, leave them in a box or get a hold of me. and I'll do what I can to help you out. And next time I come on, we'll be making something else. I haven't decided what it is yet, but we'll figure it out. I think there's a right in the middle. There we go. All right. Anyway, that's all for now, YouTube. So we'll see you next time.